Hey guys, and welcome back to the farmhouse. I am Deeanne from Hummingbird Acres, and today I'm going to take you guys on a little tour of the garden. It is December, so there's not much growing. Actually, I don't think there is anything growing, but I'm going to take you on a little walk, kind of give you an idea of what we are thinking for next year, and yeah, just dream with us. We're going to have some fun and dream. Before I head out, I'm going to make sure that I'm going to grab my planner so that I can make some notes as we go out. We love our garden planner, and it is a great way for us to keep records of everything that we're planting, everything we want to plant, different bugs and different diseases that pop up in our garden. It is just a great starting point for when you are planning next year's garden. So if you do not have a garden planner, I highly suggest you get one. I have linked ours below for you if you want to check it out. This is our tomato garden. This is where we grew tomatoes last year, and I think we're going to do the same this year. We are going to make one adjustment, and I took them over here to show you. So we have the one cattle panel on the right. We had one on the left as well, but the rows were just too close together. So we are going to bump out the row on the left, probably, I don't know, 6 inches maybe, and then put up a new cattle panel. And we still have to clean off some of last year's stuff too. But we can fit in here 31 tomato plants, which doesn't necessarily produce enough tomatoes for us for a year, but it's what we have room for and what we're gonna try. And then, so the tomatoes go until about right here. And then we have this big maple right here that keeps this back area shaded. And last year we grew summer squash in that area, and they just did not do very well. So we're looking for some suggestions on what to plant back there. Wondering if maybe like a cabbage or a Brussels sprout or maybe even broccoli, something that like more the colder annuals instead of the warmer annuals, but I don't know. That's something, but if you have a suggestion on what we should plant back here, let me know in the comments. This is our patio garden. We used to have a crepe myrtle, was right here. Jamie and I cut that down a couple weeks ago, and it really has opened up all of this space. So underneath this frost cloth is a Icelandic poppy that I found that is still growing. So that's why we covered it with this. If you want to see how we covered it, I will put a link for that video up in the upper corner for you to check out. And then over here is all of our seedlings that I have started. Lots of these are trees. Maple, red oak, apple. I think we did a pear. Lots of apple. The rose bush is in there. So it's just a lot of our trees. All of these will have to move come spring. I have no idea where they're going yet, but yeah, they're gonna have to move. This bed will be a Dahlia bed for us come spring, along with this one will also be a Dahlia bed. This one was a Dahlia bed last year, and we're gonna do the same with it this year. We do need to amend it. If you can see, the soil dropped a lot in this bed. So this bed will be getting a lot of topsoil come spring. And then the pots just have some of our other perennials that we don't want to put in the ground because this is not our forever homestead. So we put them in pots so that makes it easy for us to take them when we go. And then that big bush, I don't know if you can see it really. You can see it in the pot right there. That is a butterfly bush that we got from my aunt. So we want to take that with us as well. So that's why that's in a pot. And then this is the other butterfly bush that I found growing underneath the potting table that was a surprise, but it's actually doing really good in that pot. So it's probably gonna stay in there. One of the things on the agenda for this year is to upgrade this Monarch Enclosure. So this is the enclosure we started with, I guess 2 years ago now, and it's gotten to the point where it's just too small. We raised, gosh, probably over 100 monarchs this past year, and this enclosure was just not big enough. So we are looking to build a new one to kind of take up basically this whole space here. So that's on the agenda. So we'll have a video on how we build that coming up for you guys. You can watch some of our other Monarch videos on our channel. I'll put a card up at the top for you if you want to watch them. All right, let's start with, I don't even know where to start. So this is our side yard garden. It is 8 raised beds and then tons and tons of potted things. So like here's a blueberry bush. That's gonna stay there. This bush is about, I guess it's 2 years old. And we have one there that's also 2 years old. So the first 4 beds, so those 2 there and these 2 here are going to be for my cut flowers. I have not planned those beds yet. I'm not 100% sure what they are gonna look like. I can tell you that these 2 pots here are tulips and irises, I believe. So that's there. And then probably one of the only things that is growing in the garden right now are these garlic plants. The 3 in the grow bags are the garlic plants, and we will move them out of this bed come spring. This is kind of just a holding spot for them. And then we have 2 apple trees there, which we will transplant into big pots because, like I mentioned, this is not our forever homestead, so we're not going to pick permanent places for some of those bigger permanent trees. Okay, and then this side over here is going to be our vegetable garden. And Jamie and I did plan this the other day, so I'm gonna kind of walk you through what we planned. So this bed here is going to be our red potatoes and our sweet potatoes. And then up against this trellis, this is a cattle panel trellis, we're going to put cucumber plants and they're gonna grow up and over. And then we come into this raised bed, and up against the trellis on this side will be our Asian noodle beans. And then we're thinking this area here, it's not a very big area, but it will be probably just enough, and we might extend it down into the middle as well, but that is going to be broccoli. And then on the trellis there, not trellis, on the cattle panel there, we will do some type of bean. I think it's a bush lake bean, so green bean. And then I think these raspberries can stay there. I'm not sure, I'm gonna have to ask Jamie about that one. But I think those raspberries can stay there. And then the blackberries I think can stay there. And then in this bed, we actually have not decided what we're gonna put in here. We might put an eggplant in here, but I'm not 100% sure. All of this stuff will come out. This is more blueberry bushes, more lavender, and yeah, all of that will come out. Okay, so we're gonna do this side. So like I said, all of that's gonna come out. We're gonna put onions up here in the corner, and then we're gonna put another arch here. And on one side of the arch, we're gonna do spaghetti squash, and on the other side of the arch, we are gonna do some butternut squash. I'm gonna do some peppers up against the fence line there. I know they're gonna be a beast to get to and take care of, but I don't really have any option. And then up here in the front, we're gonna test out some carrots. So that's these existing 4 beds of vegetables. And then what we have debated on, and I think we have finally decided that we are going to do, let me stand right here, we're gonna add in 2 more beds. So, and this is what Jamie and I are gonna do when he gets back from the store. We're gonna put one going this way, put a space, and then another one to run all the way up to the fence. And the one that's up here farther is going to be Brussels sprouts and our summer zucchini. And then this bed right here, we are gonna just grow melons in it. We're gonna grow watermelons and cucumbers and just see how they do. We know they're gonna get huge and gonna be everywhere, but we are hoping that because they're in a raised bed, it might help a little bit. Now with that, we are gonna have to move this apple tree to somewhere else, along with this apple tree to somewhere else. And then we have 4 big blueberry bushes here, and they're all knocked over. Those have to be planted in pots, and they'll have to be moved. And then in this right here, I had started some cuttings of blueberries. And I think come the spring, they're probably gonna be ready to be moved into some pots as well. So I think there's 4 in there, maybe 5 that lived. So they're gonna have to go in something as well. So we are gonna be doing a lot of container planting, which is what we normally do. So not really anything different. And then I did get some questions about all of the lavender that we got, and we are gonna put them in containers as well. I got some bigger tiered planters, and we're gonna put all of the lavender in that, but I'm not sure what we're gonna do with it after that. So if you have any suggestions on what to do with lavender, please let me know in the comments below. Not 100% sure what we're gonna do with that. And then some of these other ones, we're just gonna find places for. But that is our plan for this side. This is all going to be vegetables. Now we definitely know that it's not going to be enough to feed our family for an entire year, but it is going to be enough to get our feet wet with some of these vegetables that we've never grown before, and also just give us more experience in the garden to see what works, what doesn't work, see what varieties we like, and what varieties we don't necessarily like. So I'm going to show you guys this. This is something I hate showing because it is just a mess. But this is all of the wood that we have accumulated over the years for our wood burning stove. So Granddad and Jamie have been diligently working on splitting it. You can see the splitter is over there covered, and they have some tools out. So this is one of the big projects for this year, or at least we think it's one of the big projects for this year, is to get all of this cleaned up. All right, one more garden to show you guys. This is our second milkweed garden, and it did okay this year. It didn't do wonderful. So my plan is to plant a bunch more, Hunter's in here helping, plant a bunch more milkweed in here within the next couple of weeks. Probably gonna stir up this cover weed that is still growing here and just plant a bunch. You can see I did put some cardboard down last year, so that'll probably be where I start, but we really want this to be like heavy, dense, full of milkweed to support all of our monarch caterpillars this year. And then, if you remember, I planted over 300 daffodils up against this fence line last year, so I am really looking forward to those coming up in March and April. So you will see lots of pictures of those as long as everything takes. That is what we have planned for our 2022 garden. We are gardening in zone 7 if you are wondering and if you're curious. The kids are outside playing with me. You've probably heard them. They are getting kind of cold, so they have asked for some hot chocolate, so I'm gonna head on in and make them some hot chocolate. If you want to know our hot chocolate recipe, which we absolutely love, you can check it out right here. I will put a link for you guys. But thanks so much for hanging out at the farmhouse with me today, and I will talk to you guys soon.